Okay, so let's start with PCNSA. It is called Palo Alto Certified Network Security Administrator. And in this course, we are going to learn about the basics of Palo Alto Firewall, how to initialize the Palo Alto Firewall, what is this, its architecture, okay, and how all the processes works. Then we also discuss about interface settings, its architecture, like SP3 architecture is there, right? Then interface settings, then routing, NetPet, and application ID, also app ID. Then we will discuss about some content ID information, and site to site VPN is there, and high availability in terms of active standby HA. Okay, so all these things will be covered in PCNSA only. After that, in PCNSE we have all the most advanced configuration. Like if I talk about NetPet, in PCNSE we learn about destination net, U-turn net. Okay, like in PCNSA we have static IP net, dynamic IP, and port translation. So all the Palo Alto content is divided into two parts, you can say. All the basic things are the part of PCNSA. And if I talk about the advanced configuration like Global Protect, Panorama integration, and Palo Alto sdwan integration, all these advanced topics are the part of PCNSE. Okay. So for now, let's start with very basic. What is a firewall? Any idea what is a firewall? Yes. Basically, you can say that it is a security device or system which can inspect or monitor inbound and outbound traffic based on predefined rules, right? On the firewalls, if you are not creating the rules, then it will not be able to perform inspection or monitoring, or you can say filtering, right? So here you can say that a firewall is a security system or device which monitors or inspect inbound and outbound traffic. Now, what is inbound and outbound? Inbound means the traffic which is coming into your network from external network to internal network, you can say. The traffic which is being received by your internal endpoints and it is coming from an external network, coming from the internet maybe. Okay, that traffic is called inbound. And outbound traffic, the traffic which is leaving your network, which is going from internal network to external network. Okay, so here it this firewall will be able to monitor or inspect inbound and outbound traffic based on predefined rules. Based on predefined rules. Okay, if your firewall does not have any rule, then it will not be able to perform inspection. Okay, now how many types of firewalls we have? Three types. Which one? Those are the types based on firewall technology, right? Based on firewall technology. But here I am talking about the firewall types which can be manufactured by a vendor. Like it can be a software based firewall or it can be a network based firewall, right? So here you can say we have two types of firewall. Mr. Karthik, if you face any problem, you can ask me, okay?
Sure.
So we have two types of firewall. First one is called host based firewall, actually, not software based. Host based firewall and network based firewall. This host based firewall can secure the traffic for only one endpoint, for only one host in which it is installed. Okay, that's why it is also called software based firewall, because it is running on a base operating system. It is not running on its own, right? So these firewalls are also called software based firewalls, and they can secure the traffic only for the for that endpoint or only for that host in which they are installed. Like whenever you are going to purchase an antivirus, with that antivirus you will also get firewall security, right? Here in our laptop, in Windows, we have Windows Defender nowadays. That Windows Defender will provide you antivirus security and it will also provide you firewall security. So here you can check in this Windows itself, you will find Windows Defender firewall, right? You can open it. This firewall is running right now. If you want to allow an application or feature through the Windows Defender firewall, then you can change the options from here, right? Otherwise, you can configure inbound and outbound rules for this software based firewall so that you can control which type of traffic will be received by your machine, or which type of traffic will be blocked or which will be denied. Okay, so here we have this software based firewall. So you can say Symantec antivirus will provide you firewall services. Windows Defender firewall is there. Norton antivirus will provide you firewall services. Many other antivirus softwares will provide you firewall services. They are all software based firewalls because they can secure the traffic only for the host in which it is in which they are installed, right? If I talk about network based firewall, then it will be able to secure the traffic for multiple hosts connected behind a network. Let's say in a branch network or in some network, hundreds of users connected. Okay, now if you want to provide security for the network traffic of these hundreds of users, then you are going to connect a network based firewall at your perimeter, at your edge, right? So that whenever the traffic will come from outside network or external network, then first of all it will be inspected by the network based firewall, and after that you can say the traffic will be sent to its real destination. Okay, hello Mr. Imran, how are you? So these network based firewalls will be able to secure the traffic for multiple hosts connected behind a network. You can take the example of Cisco ASA, Palo Alto Firewall, Checkpoint Firewall, FortiGate Firewall, okay, and Juniper SRX, Sophos Firewall, Dell Sonic Wall, CyberOhm, PFSense, many different firewall vendors are there, right? So these are all network-based firewall. Okay. And here we are going to learn about Palo Alto, right? Okay. It is also a next generation firewall. Now we will differentiate between the generations also. Okay, now if you want to differentiate based on generations, then first of all we have first generation firewalls, and these first generation firewalls are also called traditional firewalls, right? These first generation firewalls are also called traditional firewalls, and second generation firewalls are called next generation firewalls. Okay, second generation are called next generation firewall. And do you know third generation firewall? Second generation is next generation. Yes, UTM. Yes, UTM, Unified Threat Defense Management. Okay, like Sophos is an UTM. Okay, so that is also a kind of firewall, but that particular device is containing the features of multiple security devices. That's why it is called UTM, Unified Threat Management. The Sophos firewall is a UTM. Okay, you can read about it. Yes, that is more advanced. But see, every time whenever you are going to compare different vendor firewalls, every firewall will have its own, you can say, patent features or specifications, right? And their features will remain same. However, the naming conventions will be changed. Like if I talk about application visibility and control, if you are going to configure it in Cisco Firepower, then it is called application visibility and control, right? If you are going to configure it in Palo Alto, it is called app ID. And app ID is a patented feature of Palo Alto Firewall. It cannot be used by other vendor devices, right? Overall, they are also detecting the applications only, but their method and naming conventions are different. Okay, so features, mostly the features will remain same. Maybe there are some features which will not be available, which are vendor specific, you can say, but mostly all the features will be same. But the configuration method, naming convention, GUI, all these things will be different. Okay, like for remote access VPN in Cisco, we use Cisco AnyConnect VPN. In Palo Alto, we use Global Protect, right? And in FortiGate, we use FortiClient, but they are all using SSL VPN, right? So overall working will be same, but their methods are different. Okay. So third generation is UTM. We will not discuss about that. Yes, through the next generation firewalls, but their packet flow is different. UTM is multi-pass architecture, right? And firewall, or you can say this next generation firewall is single pass architecture. Before next generation, we were using traditional firewalls. Yes, traditional firewalls like Cisco ASA is there, Cisco PIX is there, and the older version of these firewalls like Palo Alto is always next generation, you can say. But we were having some traditional firewalls like in CyberOhm, PFSense, we were having some traditional firewalls which can perform filtering based on layer 3 and layer 4 information, you can say, right? Traditional firewalls were not able to perform application inspection or application detection or content aware filtering, deep packet inspection. Okay, these features were not available there. Okay, but in next generation firewalls, all these features are available. And here the main difference between UTM and next generation firewall is this: that UTM is multi-pass architecture. UTM follows a multi-pass architecture. It means it will evaluate all the policies one by one. Okay, but next generation firewall will evaluate all the policies at once per packet. This is single pass architecture. This is the difference between next generation firewalls and UTM. Okay, for this I will give you a notes also, in which I have included all the things. Okay, let me show you. For now I will explain some of the things from the notes also. Let me. Better than UTM? Yes, newer, not newer, better than UTM. Yes, because when you are using UTM, and if high processing, or you can say high amount of traffic will be sent through the UTM, it will introduce some kind of lack of throughput. Okay, but next generation firewalls will not be like that. That's why next generation firewalls are more popular. Checkpoint firewall is next generation firewall. Cisco Firepower is next generation firewall. FortiGate is also next generation firewall, and Palo Alto is also next generation firewall. We have very less, you can say, vendors who are manufacturing UTMs. Okay, UTM is a technology which is being used. You can consider it like this. Okay, Sophos firewall. Sophos is UTM, and UTMs will not be used in very large network. Okay, if you are using if you are connecting the device in high performance data center, you will never connect UTM. Okay, because they are very process intensive. These are the notes. Here we have Firewall Technologies. Okay, all the things I have defined separately. I just want to show you. Here you can see this is for firewall introduction only. Okay, you can read these things. Okay, after the class or at your home. Here all the different firewall vendors are defined. Then stateful firewall, we will discuss these firewall technologies. Okay, like stateless packet filtering, stateful firewall, then application layer gateway firewall, proxy firewall, identity firewall. Then we have personal firewall. Now we have virtual firewalls also, right? We have hardware appliances, and we can deploy them in the cloud also. So we have another form, which is virtual firewalls. So here I have explained all these things in detail. Stateless firewalls, packet filtering firewalls, application firewalls, personal firewalls, transparent firewalls, virtual wire, next generation firewalls, zone based firewalls, cloud based firewalls, right? Then UTM firewall. UTM is also there. So here you can read this. The term UTM firewall, or simply UTM, is the terminology. It is given to hardware or software device capable of assembling various security features, where the firewall or where that particular device have the features of multiple devices. Okay, that particular device can be considered as UTM, and very few manufacturers are, you can say, having UTM functionality in their devices. Okay, this is placement option. I will tell you where you can connect the firewall in the network. Okay, if you have an existing network, then how can you insert the firewall in an existing network? Okay, what parameters you need to consider at that time. So you can read these notes in your free time. Okay, I have created for all the topics, and in these notes I will also provide you routing switching notes, so that you can read some routing and switching. It is also important whenever you are going to implement security. First of all, you need to build the network, right? You need to create the network. So you should know about, not that much in depth, but a little bit about routing switching also. Okay, now, if I talk about first generation firewall, they are also called traditional firewalls. And these firewalls were able to inspect the traffic based on layer 3 and layer 4 information. And they were based on 32-bit architecture. Their operating system was loading with the help of RAM, like a router. Okay, like a router. All these, and they were using Ethernet interfaces. In these firewalls, they were using Ethernet interfaces. That time, gigabit Ethernet interfaces were not available. Okay, if you take a traditional firewall from Cisco, then you can say Cisco Pix firewall was there. In that firewall, all the interfaces were Ethernet interfaces. There was no gigabit Ethernet interface. Okay, so if I talk about next generation firewall, in next generation firewall, you can perform the filtering based on layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7 attributes. And in terms of layer 7 attributes, you can perform URL filtering, application visibility, and control content aware filtering, in which you can configure file blocking, malware scanning, intrusion prevention, right? So all these features will be supported by next generation firewall. And it will also provide you very flexible VPN connectivity with the help of site to site VPN and remote access VPN. Okay, or SSL VPN. So these are the differences between first generation and second generation firewalls. Okay. In my notes, I have included it. You can read it there as well. Now let's discuss about firewall technologies. Okay, firewall technologies. Here you will see different firewall technologies are being used in the network. First of all, stateless firewall or stateless packet filtering. Then we have stateful firewall features, right? After that, you will see application firewall. Then we have proxy firewall. After that, identity firewall. These are the main firewall technologies that are being used. Now, if I talk about stateless packet filtering, can you give me the example of stateless packet filtering? ACLs. Yes, ACLs. Okay. Pix firewall was also stateful. Yes. Yes. It was true packet filtering firewall. No. Yeah, it was stateless, but it was true packet filtering firewall, right? See, nowadays Pix you will not find anywhere, right? Pix is end of life, you can say. It was end of life in 2008. Okay, so you will never find it. Now, if I talk about real-time implementation of this stateless packet filtering, is ACL configuration on routers, right? This is stateless packet filtering. Someone has sent me a message. Let me check. Okay. So ACLs on the router is the example of stateless packet filtering. It means whenever the traffic will be matched with the rule, with the access control rule or access control entry, it will define the action without taking care about the state. It will not check any TCP state or any kind of state of the packet. It will just match the traffic with the rule and it will define the action whether it is permitted or denied. This is called stateless, right? So if the traffic is matching with the ACL, then only it will be filtered. Otherwise, it will be allowed. Okay. After that, we have stateful packet filtering. What is stateful packet filtering? Source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port protocols, and it will also note down bytes, how many bytes have been transferred. It will also show you the uptime of the connection and the remaining time, means the overall timeout of that particular connection, right? Yes, TCP flags will means it will be showing the state actually, right? So if I talk about stateful firewall, stateful firewalls will maintain a session table. Whenever any traffic will go through the firewall, let's say from internal network to external network, these users are sending the traffic to a server connected behind ISP. Now this traffic will go through the Palo Alto firewall, right? So when the traffic will go from internal network to external network, this Palo Alto firewall will note down the information in its session table, and it will match this information with the return traffic. If the return traffic is matching with the session table entry, then it will be allowed. Otherwise, this return traffic will be blocked. And now you know that if there is any traffic sent through the firewall, then for its connection entry is established, right? And for the return traffic, it will be verified. Now, if a new user is connected, or if there is an attacker who is trying to send some traffic from external network to internal network, and for this there is no entry in session table, right? So firewall will block this automatically. You can explicitly allow it by creating an access control rule, right? But by default it will be blocked. Okay, this is called stateful behavior. The traffic which is sent from one interface to another interface, if it is allowed by the policies, then firewall will allow the traffic and it will create an entry in session table, and it will match the return traffic with this session table entry. If it is matching with the session table entry, it will be allowed. Otherwise, it will be blocked. It will be considered as a new connection. And by default, from external network to internal network, traffic will be blocked. Everything is denied. So if you want to allow specific traffic, you need to create access control rule for that. Okay. This is called stateful firewall. Now here you can see I have included them in my notes also. You can go to the same firewall technology PDF. Then you can see here application firewalls and other different firewalls. Transparent firewall. See, this is application firewall. Sorry, proxy firewall. This is application firewall. So application firewall works from layer 3 to layer 7, right? Application means you can perform filtering based on some application header information, like you can use URL, okay, unified resource locator, right? After that you can also use application ID or application signature. We will see how the application will be identified by the Palo Alto firewall, and how the Palo Alto firewall can filter the applications based on their app ID. Okay, app ID defines the application signature actually. Okay, we will see what are the different parameters which needs to be identified. So here application firewall checks for known information such as source and destination address. It checks for known port as well as checks for known application specific content. Okay, and it is more processor intensive but very tight control, because see, if you are going to perform filtering based on layer 3 and layer 4 information only, then you will not be able to identify all the traffic which is going through the device, because attackers, what attackers can do, they can customize the port numbers of their traffic, right? And they can send some traffic, and your firewall will pretend that traffic as a legitimate traffic, and it will allow it. Let's say some of the users are connecting to BitTorrent using UDP53, and UDP53 is DNS. It will be allowed it will be allowed by the firewall. So here, if you are not detecting BitTorrent traffic using application visibility, then you will not be able to block that traffic, right? So at that time, we need to use app ID so that we can specifically identify the application traffic, and then we can take action on that. Okay. So we will see that in our practicals also. So this firewall has the ability to analyze the traffic all the way up to application layer. Okay. It is also called application layer gateway firewall, ALG firewall. Okay. Sometimes you will hear about this term also, ALG firewall. Clear? After that, we have proxy firewall. What proxy firewall does? Proxy firewall will perform proxy, and you know about proxy. Proxy means doing some work on behalf of someone else, right? Doing some work on behalf of someone else. Now, if this firewall is working as a proxy firewall, then it will not allow any direct communication between source and destination. It is like this, right? Whenever these internal users will try to send the traffic through the firewall, firewall will intercept that traffic, and it will hold this traffic, you can say, and after that it will initiate a new connection with the destination server. Okay, and here it will try to establish the connection. Once this connection is established, then firewall will complete this connection also. So this is called performing proxy. Here firewall is intercepting this connection, and it is creating a new connection, it is initiating a new connection on behalf of this endpoint. Okay, that's why it is called proxy firewall. And using this proxy firewall, after implementing proxy firewall, you will be able to perform deep packet inspection for the traffic. You will be able to perform content aware filtering, malware scanning. Yes, yes, SSL offloading. First of all, you will decrypt the traffic with the help of SSL decryption or HTTPS inspection. Yes. After that, you can perform content-aware filtering, file blocking, malware scanning, intrusion prevention. All the content-aware features can be enabled, like security profiles. Here, yes, Palo Alto has this feature, proxy firewall feature. You can configure SSL forward proxy. Yes, yes. We can configure SSL forward proxy, and we can also configure inbound proxy, both. Okay. I will show you SSL forward proxy practical. Okay. Then identity firewall. Now you know that in most of the firewalls we configured the rules based on IP addresses, network addresses, right? We identify the users based on IP addresses or network addresses, but it is not that much granular. Maybe some users are mobile users in your network. Mobile means they are changing their location, right? they are changing their location. Sometimes they are connecting through wired networks, sometimes they are connecting through wireless networks, sometimes they are connecting through their personal devices, sometimes they are connecting through VPN connection, right? So if any user who is you can say working in mobility, then for those type of users you will not be able to create the policies based on IP addresses or network addresses, because as their connection is changing, their network is changing, right? So for a single endpoint, for a single user, you have to configure multiple policies on the firewalls. So rather than doing this, what you can do, you can integrate the firewall with some kind of authentication server like AD. Okay. And you can perform user ID integration. You will be able to create the policies based on user names or user groups, right? So that you can define which type of user will be able to send the traffic, not the IP address or network address. So regardless of its layer 3 information, you will be able to match the traffic of users or endpoints with the help of their user information or user group information, which will be received from AD. Okay, which will be received from Active Directory server. So here we will perform this user ID integration also. We will install Microsoft Active Directory server in 2016. Okay, and then we will integrate it with Palo Alto Firewall so that we can enforce user-based policies or identity-aware policies. Okay, these policies are called identity-aware policies. Clear? Any doubt till now? Yes, not for UDP, because UDP does not have any state. UDP packets are unreliable, right? So for UDP, it will just have a session ID and the information of you can say source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port, but there will be no connection state. Because see, we are also permitting DNS from internal network, right? But we don't create bidirectional policies for DNS, right? No, see, here the feature is about the firewall. Firewall is noting down the information in its session table, whether it is TCP or UDP. See, here UDP will not be able to tell the state of connection, whether this connection is initiated from internal network or external network. It will not be able to tell you that thing, right? In TCP, it can be identified whether this is the connection initiated from internal network or it is coming from outside. Okay, because UDP connection. Yes, there will be an entry of UDP connection just to, yes, in session table, just to identify that this traffic was sent, and for the return traffic, I need to match this entry. Okay, because for TCP and UDP, it is inspecting. If it is not inspecting for some protocol, then there will be no entry created. And you have to create the rules for bidirectional communication. Okay, it was happening in traditional firewall. Okay, clear. So for DNS also means for UDP traffic also, the traffic will be allowed, means inspection will be performed. Okay, the entry will be noted down in the firewall session table and return traffic will be allowed based on the session table entry. Okay, but there will be no state information because in UDP we don't have any state, right? Only session ID will be there and source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port based on this information. Okay, I will show you in the session browser. For DNS, it will create the entry. Okay, clear, Mr. Karthik? Any doubt?
Uh, no, not yet.
Mr. Imran, are you getting this? So these are the firewall technologies that we are using nowadays in our network. Okay, okay, okay. Now let's move to Palo Alto Firewall, which is a next generation firewall, right? And let's discuss about the features of Palo Alto Firewall. Okay. Then we will see architecture. Okay. And it's a component, how you will deploy in the network, all the things one by one. Okay. So the Palo Alto Firewall is also a next generation firewall. Okay. So first of all, it is a stateful firewall. Okay. Which vendor manufacturer manufactured the first stateful firewall? Yes. Checkpoint introduced this stateful firewall feature in 1995, 1994. Okay. So this Palo Alto firewall is also a stateful firewall. It means it will note down the information in its session table whenever the traffic will go through the firewall from one interface to another interface, right? And it will verify the return traffic with the session table entry. If the return traffic is matching with the session table entry, it will be allowed. Otherwise, it will be considered as a new connection coming from external network and it will be blocked. Okay. If you want to allow this, you need to create a rule to explicitly allow the traffic. Okay. After that, here it will provide you routing support. It means you can configure routing so that you can perform layer 3 operations, right? So that you can send the traffic from one network to another network. And on Palo Alto Firewall, you can configure static routes. You can configure OSPF protocol, BGP protocol, right? And these are the most used protocols. You can also configure multicast routing. Okay. EIGRP is not there because that was Cisco proprietary, right? Yes, that was because yeah, that's why I'm saying that was. Yes, no, no. See, EIGRP is not that much scalable also. Okay, it is being outdated very soon. RIP is removed from the network. You will find RIP very rarely routing information. Yes, OSPF is the most used protocol. So you need to make command on OSPF specifically. And for EGP, you know that we have BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. That is also most important. Okay. So in routing section, I would suggest you just to focus on OSPF and BGP. Static routes are not that much complex. You can do them very easily, right? So OSPF and BGP protocol. Here also we will configure static routes, OSPF protocol and BGP protocol. Okay. Then Palo Alto Firewall will be able to provide you NetPet support like every other next generation firewall. NetPet. Here also we have static net, dynamic net, and PET, but the naming conventions are different. Here it is called static IP net, dynamic IP net, and dynamic IP and port translation. Okay, the port translation you know that about PET, port address translation. That is called here DIP, dynamic IP and port translation. Okay. Then here we have the concept of source net and destination net, right? And this concept is not available in other vendors. If I talk about Cisco, in Cisco, you will be able to create the rules based on source IP and destination IP both. But in Palo Alto Firewall, we have specifically two types of net, source net and destination net. And in source net, you can configure different types of net rules like static IP net, dynamic IP, and the port translation. Same for destination net. In destination net, you can configure static IP net or IP and port translation, IP and port forwarding also. Okay, for destination net. And we have a term called U-turn net, which is very popular in Palo Alto Firewall. Okay, so we will configure that U-turn net also. Yes, it is the part of PCNSE, but if you want, we can discuss it here. Okay. NetPet, after NetPet, here this Palo Alto Firewall will provide you or will be able to provide you access control based on layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7 attributes. Okay. In terms of layer 3, layer 4, you can consider source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, TCP flags, ICMP messages, and layer 3 DSCP bits. Okay. DSCP bits are used in QoS, differentiated services code point. Okay. After that, in terms of layer 7, you can provide category and reputation based URL filtering. Any idea what is category and reputation based URL filtering? See, if I talk about URL filtering, it is used to define which URL access will be allowed in the network and which URL access will not be allowed in the network, right? Other than this, we have some advanced features also in Palo Alto Firewall. If you use a security profile called data filtering, you can also restrict the users to upload sensitive credentials over the URLs, right? So we have some advanced features, but for now, if I talk about category and reputation based URL filtering, it means if you want to filter the URL for a specific category or for a specific types of URL, then you can call its a category in your access control rule, in your security rule, and you can define whether this category URLs will be allowed or not. Now, if I talk about category, it can be gambling category, it can be games category, gaming category, or any illegal website category, right? Or you can restrict your internal users to access shopping URLs, social networking URLs, search engines, or real estate URLs, right? So there are many, around 107 or 108 categories are available, which can be used here. Okay. And reputation will define the risk of accessing that URL, whether it is high risk URL, low risk URL, medium risk URL, okay, or it is beginning site. So you will be able to identify the URLs based on their reputation, okay, and this reputation will be received from Palo Alto Cloud. Yes, Palo Alto database. Okay, because this is a reputation based score which identifies an URL as malicious or clean URL, right? If it is a clean URL, then risk will be very low. Okay, and if it is a malicious URL, maybe a site from where you can download a virus kind of thing, then it will be considered as high risk URL, right? Like BitTorrent URLs are high risk, Tor browser URLs are high risk URL. If I talk about a normal or medium risk URLs, it can be google.com, okay, where its reputation is normal or good. Okay, so we will be able to configure it. After that, we have app ID, application identification, right? App ID, or you can also call it application visibility and control. Okay. In other vendors, it is called application visibility and control. It means you will be able to identify the applications and you will be able to filter the traffic based on applications. Okay. Let's say in the network, you don't want to allow any user to access facebook.com or Facebook application, actually, not URL, Facebook application. Then you can block it. Moreover, if you want to perform filtering for micro applications, let's say within Facebook, we have multiple micro applications. Maybe for marketing purpose, for sales purpose, you want to allow Facebook, you want to allow LinkedIn. But if you want to filter their micro applications like Facebook chat, Facebook events, Facebook games, Facebook like, comment, video chat, text chat, right? So you can block all these micro applications using app ID. App ID is called application identification. Okay. And it is a patent feature of Palo Alto Firewall. Okay. Other than this, let's say you want to permit LinkedIn application in the network, but you don't want to allow your internal employees to access LinkedIn job search. You don't want to allow internal employee to access LinkedIn inbox, LinkedIn profiles of other users, right? So you can block all these type of micro applications. In YouTube, we have micro application like YouTube upload, YouTube download, YouTube MP3. So you can block these micro applications for YouTube. So for every specific application, you will find some micro applications. And according to your requirement, you can define the bandwidth also for that particular application, how much bandwidth you want to allow, right? So you will be able to perform bandwidth control also. But before that, you need to identify the application. So app ID will be used. Okay, clear? Then we have user ID or identity firewall feature. User ID means whenever you want to create the policies or security rules based on username or user group information, then you are going to use user ID integration. You need to perform user ID integration. And this integration will be performed with the help of Microsoft Active Directory Server or LDAP server, Novell eDirectory server, right? There will be different, you can say, authentication servers available. You can integrate them with your Palo Alto firewall according to the support, right? Microsoft AD server is supported, Radius servers, TechX servers are supported, okay? LDAP server is supported, Novell eDirectory server is supported, so you can connect them. Yes, Mr. Karthik.
Thanks. So in this, can we block ad also? Like if those are coming on any website, if we are visiting on any website or on YouTube,
No, ads cannot be blocked.
ads cannot block.
No. For that, you need to use IPS. Okay, but IPS will also be able to block only the ads which will be detected as malicious. Okay. Otherwise, ads like on website, you will see different types of ads, right? They are coming, but these ads will not be blocked here.
So ads are also just like a somewhat micro application, we can say, or what a
No,
link.
no, ads are
No,
not micro applications. See,
sometimes they're coming like
micro,
download such thing like that.
yes, but they are not micro applications. Ads are, you can say, attached with the web page, right? So they will come. You can filter the micro applications which are the part of that particular parent application. Let's say in Facebook, we have different micro applications. They are defined. They are defined as the micro applications or micro applications of Facebook, and Facebook is parent application for them, right? But
Okay.
for
Okay.
any ad page, there is no parent application, there is no micro application. Ad
Mm,
page will be coming with your web page only.
okay.
Okay, so you will
Okay.
not be able to filter that using app ID or yeah, app ID. Yes, user ID will not, you can say, take effect anyhow, but app ID will not be used at that time.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So based on user information or user group information, you can create the security rules, and you can define which traffic will be allowed in the network and which traffic will be blocked with the help of your security rules. After that, we have content ID. Now this content ID feature will help us to identify or will help us to filter the traffic based on content of the application data, means based on the data which is going inside application layer header. Okay. Yes, deep packet inspection or content aware filtering. You can call it content aware filtering also. Now, when you are going to use content ID, here we have different security profiles in Palo Alto Firewall. Let's say in terms of content filtering, you want to do URL filtering. So for URL filtering, you have a security profile. Okay. If you want to do application based filtering or file based filtering, file control, then also you need to create a security profile. If you want to detect malware, virus, spam in your packets, then also you need to create security profile. Maybe you don't want to allow your users to upload their sensitive information like credentials, credit card number, social security number over the internet on the website, then you have data filtering profile, data filtering security profile. So for different type of content, we have different type of security profile. Okay. We have vulnerability security profile, vulnerability assessment. Okay. So content ID will help you to perform deep packet inspection or to perform filtering based on the content of your application data, application header. Okay. So we have different security profiles to, you can say, enable content ID features on Palo Alto Firewall. After content ID, we have VPN support, right? You can implement site-to-site VPN and remote access VPN. We will discuss about that. And the remote access VPN will be configured with the help of SSL protocol, SSL or TLS. Nowadays, SSL is upgraded to TLS, right? And we are using TLS 1.2. 1.3 is drafted. Yeah, 1.3 is not being used that much nowadays. It is being deployed. Okay. And TLS 1.2 is being used across the globe, you can say, for all the applications. 1.3 is very new version. Okay. So here we will be able to configure site-to-site VPN. Okay. And for remote access VPN, we use Global Protect client. Okay. Because every firewall vendor will have a, you can say, dedicated client for its remote access VPN solution, right? This Palo Alto has Global Protect, Cisco has AnyConnect, FortiGate has Forti client, right? Checkpoint has Checkpoint EMS, right? So all the devices, all the firewalls are having their own, you can say, dedicated VPN clients to provide remote access solution, remote access VPN connectivity. Okay. After that, here it will be able to perform SSL decryption. It is also called HTTPS inspection in some vendors. Okay. In Checkpoint, it is called HTTPS inspection. Okay. In Palo Alto, it is called SSL forward proxy or SSL offloading, SSL decryption. Okay. Clear. Now, why this SSL decryption is required? Because in the network, you know that most of the applications are using SSL or TLS protocol to secure the communication, right? And if that secured communication is going through your firewall and you want to perform deep packet inspection or content aware filtering, then you have to decrypt the traffic, right? You have to decrypt the traffic. If you want to use a security profile with the name data filtering or file blocking or antivirus, anti-spam, for all these deep packet inspection techniques, we need to decrypt the traffic on the firewall. Okay. So it will be something like this. Let's say this is your firewall and here it is connected with ISP. And in internal network, we have internal users connected, and these users are going to access this web server which is running on HTTPS. Okay. Now, if it is running on HTTPS, then SSL TLS will be used, right? So if you are not configuring SSL decryption on Palo Alto Firewall, then this traffic will be sent to the destination server directly. And this Palo Alto Firewall will not be able to perform deep packet inspection over this traffic or content aware inspection over this traffic. So what we need to do, when this client will send the traffic, will send HTTPS connection request to the destination server, Palo Alto Firewall will intercept this connection request. Okay. And it will send its self-signed certificate. I will tell you the entire process, how the SSL decryption is performed. Okay. And we will configure it also. So this Palo Alto Firewall will send its self-signed certificate. In our lab, we will use self-signed certificate. Okay. And this self-signed certificate needs to be trusted by this internal endpoint. So what you need to do, you have to export it manually, right? Yes, in real-time network, if you have hundreds of endpoints, then you can use Windows group policy to push the certificate to all the endpoints at one time. Okay. Otherwise, in our lab, we will be able to download the certificate, however. Okay. If you have a small network, then also you can, however, you need to send the certificate through mail, pen drive, whatever method you can use. Okay. Otherwise, in real-time network, mostly Windows group policies will be used. Yes, because we have thousands of endpoints, right? On each and every endpoint, you cannot go and you cannot install the certificate one by one, right? So in real-time network, because here in real-time network, we have all centralized management, right? So you can push the certificate directly from Windows Server using Windows group policy, right? Otherwise, you can send it through mail or something, but you just need to install the certificate on the endpoint. Now, if the certificate is trusted by the endpoint, then this secure connection will be established here, right? Further, this Palo Alto firewall will initiate the secure HTTPS connection towards the destination server. Now, destination server will provide its certificate, its identity certificate or device certificate, right? Let's say it is google.com. So google.com will provide its device certificate, its identity certificate to prove its identity, right? Otherwise, if this certificate is not sent, then this connection will not be secure. Okay. Or if this certificate is not trusted by your device, then also this connection will not be secure. So this google.com server will provide a certificate. This Palo Alto firewall will be able to verify that certificate, because in these network devices, we have a certificate store in our PC, in Palo Alto firewall, in every network device, which can create the TLS connection or SSL connection. That device has a certificate store. Okay. In this certificate store, all the root certificates are already installed. All the root certificates are already installed. See, if you have Windows PC, in Windows PC also we establish secure connections with different websites, right? So for every website, you can say your Windows PC has a root certificate already installed in its certificate store. You can check this. You can go to Microsoft Management Console, MMC. Okay. Then you can open it. And here you can go to File, Add, Remove, Snap in. Then you can go to Certificates, Add for the current user. Okay. Finish. Click on OK. It is added here. Now you can open the certificates. Here you will find this Trusted Root Certification Authority. Right? Trusted Root Certification Authority. In this Trusted Root Certification Authority, this PC contains all the root certificates which can be used to verify the identity of a website. Okay. If google.com is providing its certificate to this PC, then this PC will check the root certificate which can verify the identity certificate of google.com. Okay. And see, these certificates, you don't need to upload them. They will be downloaded through Windows Update. Okay. Otherwise, you can upload them as well. If you want to upload them manually, you can do that. I will show you that. Okay. But for now, you can consider that these root certificates are downloaded from Windows Update. Okay. Yes, in every browser, in Internet Explorer, in Mozilla Firefox, in Chrome, we have a certificate store where, let's say you have updated your browser. At that time, your certificate store will also be updated. Okay. It will get the new certificate, new root certificates, which are generated by global certificate authorities. Okay. So here, this certificate needs to be verified. If this certificate is trusted by the Palo Alto Firewall, then this secure connection will also be established, right? Between Palo Alto Firewall and destination server. And here on Palo Alto Firewall, the traffic will be decrypted because this PC will send the traffic to Palo Alto Firewall. Here it will be encrypted. Okay. Palo Alto Firewall will decrypt it. And after performing deep packet inspection or content aware inspection, it will encrypt the traffic again and it will send it to destination server. It will work like this. Okay. Only on the Palo Alto Firewall packet is decrypted. And it is decrypted in raw structured data. You cannot copy this. Okay. It is not like that if you are decrypting the data, then you can copy it. You can get the some information about the data if you are able to analyze that properly. Then it is not like that if the traffic is decrypted, then you can copy it from here. The decrypted traffic can be copied from here and you can analyze it somewhere, right? It is not possible. मुझसे एक बार क्लास में पूछ रहा था एक स्टूडेंट कि सर मेरे नेटवर्क में बहुत ट्रांजेक्शन्स होते हैं तो वो डिक्रिप्ट करते नहीं है हम लोग अगर यहाँ पे डिक्रिप्ट कर दूं मैं तो क्या मैं उनको कॉपी करके देख सकता हूँ बात मैंने कहा डेटा कैसे निकालोगे वहां से है कि नहीं आप डेटा को डिक्रिप्ट कर रहे हो सिर्फ फायरवॉल के ऑपरेशंस के लिए यू कैन नॉट कॉपी दैट ओके क्लियर दिस इज कॉल्ड एसएसएल डिक्रिप्शन okay or ssl offloading https inspection you can call anything it has different names in different vendors okay but it is very important feature most important feature yes see it is like this let's say this is isp okay here we have a global certificate authority ca okay now let's say I am hosting my website nc.com initially I was hosting this website using using http at that time there was no security there was no secure communication happening because it is http it will send all the traffic in plain text now I want to host this website using https what I need to do I need to purchase a certificate from a global certificate authority okay this global certificate authority will provide me a device certificate or identity certificate okay it will provide me a identity certificate now this identity certificate will be used to prove the identity of nc.com okay and this ca will provide me a root certificate also so that this server can prove that I got this identity certificate from this certificate authority okay or this particular certificate authority has issued the certificate maybe DigiCert, GoDaddy, Verizon, AT&T, many global certificate authorities are there okay so you have purchased an identity certificate and the root ca the certificate authority has provided you a root certificate also now it is done here okay now on the endpoint here on the endpoint this global ca root certificate is already installed okay this global ca root certificate is already installed now when this endpoint will send the connection request to this web server will provide its device certificate or identity certificate okay it will provide its identity certificate it means if it is google.com then google.com will provide its own identity certificate to prove its identity right so this certificate will be received by this endpoint now this endpoint will verify this identity certificate with the help of this root certificate it will check whether this identity certificate is also issued by the same global ca or not or it is valid or not right it's a every certificate has an expiration period expiration time it will be checked also okay so here if the root certificate is present for that particular global ca who has you can say given this identity certificate to the website then this certificate will be verified successfully and a secure connection will be established it is like this okay here you can browse the google.com only then you will be able to understand it okay it is already accessed okay this is google.com now here you can see this log it is showing connection secure you can click on this now here you can click on more information here you can see it is verified by google trust services gtsca okay now you can click on more information you can click on view certificate okay now here it will show you multiple certificates now the certificate hierarchy is something like this first of all we have root ca then we have subordinate ca Yes. Then we have intermediate CA. Okay. Subordinate CA, then we have intermediate CA. And after that, you have client. Okay. So you don't need to take care about subordinate CA and intermediate CA. You need to focus on root CA. Root CA is the parent CA who has, you can say, given the authorization to intermediate CA and subordinate CA to give the certificates. Okay. So you need to focus on root CA. Now you can see this is google.com. So you can identify that this certificate is google.com certificate, right? Means this certificate is sent by google.com. When you send the connection request to google.com, google.com provided this certificate to you. This is common name. This certificate is generated for google.com, and google.com is sending this to your endpoint so that it can prove its identity, right? And it is issued by, not here, scroll down, these are DNS name. See here, this is expiration time. This is expiration time. And it is issued by Google Trust Services. And it can be verified by Google Trust Services root CA only, right? Because it is issued by GTSCA. And see, these are all different DNS names which can be used or which can use this certificate, okay? Which can use this certificate, okay? Wildcard needs, see, every here, if you are talking about the internet, then for google.com, you will find many certificates. And same for google.com, there are many domains within Google also, okay? So this certificate can be used by those domains also. This is the thing. Here you can see subject alternative name, SAN. Okay. It means this certificate is being used by some other entities also. Okay. Not only for this google.com. You can see different domain name. This is google.com. Okay. It is possible. Okay. But this certificate is being used by other website, other domains, you can say, other domain names also. Okay. And here it is showing that it is generated by organization, you can check, and it is generated by GTSCA. Now for GTSCA, we have these certificates, right? So you can open this GTSCA. This is your root certificate for Google Trust Services. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it happens. Okay. I understand that now. Okay. So this is your root certificate, which will be used to verify the certificate sent by google.com. Okay. Clear? So certificate authority is the main component here. Okay. Certificate authority will generate two types of certificate. First of all, root certificate and identity certificate. Root certificate is used to prove the identity of CA itself. Okay. Because let's say this is the client. On this client, you want to download a device certificate or identity certificate. Then first of all, you need to trust the CA, right? Then only you can download identity certificate. So when you are going to send the request to download identity certificate to any CA, that CA will provide its root certificate first of all, so that it can maintain a trust between the client and itself. After that, the client will be able to download identity certificate. Otherwise, it will not be downloaded. Okay. Otherwise, identity certificate will not be downloaded. So both of the certificates are required. And identity certificates can be verified by root certificates only. Okay. Otherwise, you need to export them manually. Okay. Clear. So we will see this certificate thing in SSL decryption itself. Okay. 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 After this, here we have the features of high availability. See, here I have not defined a security profile separately. Okay. They are the part of content ID. Like here we have security profile for data filtering, as I told you. You can restrict your users to send your sensitive information like credentials or credit card information or social security numbers over the public websites. Okay. Yes. You can also block the users to upload sensitive data over the public network. That is called DLP, data loss prevention. Right. So you can also configure it with the help of file blocking security profile. For in file blocking security profile, you can block the files for downloading and uploading both. Okay. Yes, based on their extension. Okay. See, if you are using data filtering profile, then you can use more than extension. Okay. You can use based on the particular file title. Yeah, keyword, title, author. You can use these information also. It will be more granular. Okay. Then we have antivirus security profile, anti-spam security profile, vulnerability analysis security profile, threat protection. Okay. So all these security profiles will be the part of content ID. Clear? After that, we have high availability features, HA, high availability, right? In terms of high availability means if you want to provide redundancy for the firewall, if you are connecting a single firewall at your perimeter, and if that firewall goes down, or this link goes down, or this link goes down, then your entire connectivity will be down, right? So it is called a single point of failure, right? So rather than connecting a single firewall in the network, what we do, we connect a pair of firewall like this. You will take the connection here like this. Okay, they are also connected like this. So you can say that this is your primary firewall and this is your secondary firewall. Okay, and the traffic will be sent through primary firewall. Once the primary firewall will be down, the secondary firewall will be active and it will start sending the traffic like this. They will all reflect on secondary firewall also. They both of the firewalls must be having the same configuration, same model number, same amount of RAM, same amount of flash, everything will be same. Okay, same version also, same application database version also, same vulnerability database version also, right? So all these attributes must match, then only your HA will be up, otherwise one device will be out of HA, means HA will be failed. Yes, बिल्कुल. देखो जब आप कमिट करते हो ना, तो कमिट करने पे कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फिर आपके HA पे पुश होगी directly. It will be pushed on HA. In HA we have both of the devices, right? It will not be pushed individually. Okay, if you are configuring HA, the configuration will be pushed on HA and both of the devices will be synchronized with each other. They will be in sync. Okay, so the configuration you can say will be same on both of the devices. Okay, so here we will learn about active standby failover. Okay, in terms of high availability, you can also configure active failover, but for that you need a physical appliance. Okay, physical machine, because in active failover we have to use vsys, virtual system, vsys. Okay, you have configured context on ASA, context. Yes, multi-context mode is there, right? So, and multi-context mode is supported on ASA hardware appliance, right? Not on VM. Same here. This vsys is the example of context configuration. vsys means, let's say here you have a physical firewall. This is Palo Alto physical firewall. Okay, and through this firewall you are sending the traffic. It is working as a logical firewall also, right? But if you want to divide this firewall into two parts, okay, like this is your vsys 1 and this is vsys 2. Yes, logically they are two. Yes, into two parts. It can be more than two also. It depends on the hardware appliance and your license. Okay, how many virtual systems you can create. Okay, so if you want to divide the firewall features logically, let's say you have one physical appliance and you want to create multiple virtual firewalls within that appliance, then you can configure vsys. Okay, vsys 1, vsys 2, vsys 3, and based on this virtual system you can also configure active failover. For one vsys, one firewall will be active. For another vsys, another firewall will be active. Okay, when first firewall will be down for vsys 1, then other firewall will be active for both of the virtual systems, vsys 1 and vsys 2, same as ASA. Okay, are you getting this? No, see, it is like this. Let's say these are two firewalls. Okay, here also we have vsys 1 and vsys 2. Now for this vsys, maybe this firewall is active, and for vsys 2 it is standby. For vsys 1 it is standby, and for vsys 2 it is active. Yes, ASA. In backend it is running active standby. Okay, I don't know about F5. Okay, but here you can say that you can divide a physical firewalls into multiple virtual firewalls within it. Okay, and you can use this vsys in high availability, in active high availability feature. Okay, otherwise the main use case of vsys will be in very large network or in multi-tenant network, where you have, maybe you are working in a service provider network where they are hosting some websites for different customers, and every customer is requiring for a dedicated firewall. So you are not going to connect that much of appliances in your network, right? You are going to purchase a high-end appliance, and you are going to create virtual firewall within that appliance. So for a dedicated customer, you are using this virtual firewall. For a different customer, you are using this virtual firewall, right? If you have, let's say, tens of customers, then you are going to purchase Palo Alto 7000 kind of appliance, very high end, and then you can create multiple virtual systems, okay, according to your license. And for each and every customer, you can provide a dedicated firewall logically, okay. It is not a separate physical firewall. We have created a virtual, a logical firewall within our physical firewall, okay. Clear? So VSys is also supported, but it is supported in only physical devices, not in virtual. Okay. If you are going to deploy your firewall in private cloud or in the public cloud, then you have to use active standby failover only. Okay. Clear? Apart from this, you can configure your firewall in layer 2 mode. You can configure it as transparent firewall. Now, what is the use of transparent firewall? Can anyone tell me? What is the use of transparent firewall? Yes, yes. You can say if we have an existing network and if we don't want to change its IP addressing scheme, its routing scheme, because if you are inserting a layer 3 component between your devices, then you have to add some new subnets, you have to configure some new routing also, right? And some other features as well. So it will introduce extra configuration overhead, right? But if you don't want to do all this thing, you can configure a firewall in layer 2 mode. But at that time, some of the features will not be supported there, right? You have to face that. Okay. You will not be able to configure PAT. You will not be able to configure dynamic routing. You will not be able to configure VPN also. The most important thing, right? That's why transparent firewall is not that much popular. Transparent firewall can be connected wherever you don't need dynamic routing, you don't need VPN connectivity. Okay. And PAT also. PAT is not supported on transparent firewall because there is no IP address on the interface, right? So PAT will not work. Okay. Other than this Palo Alto firewall will provide you centralized management and reporting. We need to consider these features also, not only the technical features, right? So here in Palo Alto GUI, we have different types of logs. We will discuss about them. We have configuration logs, config logs. We have audit logs. We have system logs. Okay, different types of logs are there. We have decryption logs, threat uh, threat protection logs are there, vulnerability assessment logs are there. So different types of logs are there. We will discuss about them, and we will be able to see or view all the logs from a central point of management, which is Palo Alto GUI. Otherwise, if you want to provide centralized management for all the Palo Alto firewalls connected across the network, then you are going to use Panorama, right? Panorama. Panorama is like a management center for Palo Alto devices. Okay. If you have hundreds of firewalls connected in your organization, then you are not going to manage them one by taking their GUI access and configuring them, right? It will be very time consuming and it will include, sorry, it will increase configuration overhead. It will increase human errors, typing mistakes, misconfigurations, non-standard configurations, right? So rather than using this manual approach to configure Palo Alto firewalls, we can use an automated approach, you can say, because through the Panorama you will be able to push the configuration with the help of templates, right? Device templates are there, feature templates are there. So we will see. I will also tell you it is the part of PCNSE actually. In PCNSE we discuss about Panorama. Okay. वाइल्ड यस वाइल्ड फायर सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे कंटेंट आईडी में, वो तो बता दूंगा, उतना बड़ा चैलेंज नहीं है वो, है ना? सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल्स वैसे आपकी सब पीसीएनएसई में ही है, लेकिन कुछ सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल्स होती है जो हम लोग पीसीएनएसए में भी डिस्कस करते हैं, ओके, बिकॉज दे आर इंपॉर्टेंट, लाइक फाइल ब्लॉकिंग सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल, यूआरएल फिल्टरिंग सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल, डेटा फिल्टरिंग सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल एंड वाइल्ड फायर एनालिसिस। ओके, ये सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल्स मैं आपको पीसीएनएसए में भी करके दिखाऊंगा, कॉन्फ़िगर करके दिखाऊंगा। और बाकी एंटीवायरस, एंटी स्पैम, वल्नरेबिलिटी असेसमेंट, थ्रेट प्रोटेक्शन, ये सारी सिक्योरिटी प्रोफाइल्स हम लोग पढ़ते हैं पीसीएनएसई में। एंड इन पीसीएनएसए आई विल आल्सो टेल यू अबाउट जोन प्रोटेक्शन प्रोफाइल। ओके, which is used to prevent the attacks, right? Like IP flood attack, ICMP flood attack, UDP flood attack, TCP flood attack, right? So all the type of DOS and DDoS attack can be prevented using zone protection profile. Then we have a DOS protection profile also, which can be attached. Okay, it is a security profile, right? DOS protection profile is a security profile, and zone protection profile is not a security profile. It will be attached to your security zone directly, right? There is a difference between security profile and zone protection profile. They are different. Okay, clear? Mr. Karthik, are you getting this?
Yes.
Then we will see its architecture and components, device portfolio, everything. Okay. So for now, I am going to show you, I am going to tell you about management access. How will you take the access of the device, right? Let's say you have purchased a new box of Palo Alto Firewall, or you have deployed a new VM in the cloud, maybe in the private cloud or in the public cloud. Okay. Then how you are going to take the management access? If you are having physical firewall, then you have two options. First of all, you have on box management एंड ऑफ बॉक्स मैनेजमेंट, तो उसको भी देख लेंगे. अगर आपके पास कोई फिजिकल है, इफ यू हैव एनी फिजिकल डिवाइस, देन यू कैन एक्सेस इट थ्रू CLI और GUI, right? For CLI you can use console port, you know this, right? And for GUI, sorry, for remote access CLI you can use SSH, right? Console port will provide you the access when you are physically connected with your firewall with the help of console cable and your PC, right? And this remote access CLI can be provided using SSH protocol, secure shell. So we will see how to take that access. And GUI access will be provided if you want to use access the individual firewall, then you can use Palo Alto GUI, right? Palo Alto GUI, or you can also use Panorama. For off box management, it is called on box or local management, and it is called off box or centralized management. Okay, clear? So in our lab we are using VM, virtual machine. Okay, and this lab is created in the private cloud on KVM, kernel virtual machine. Kernel virtual machine is based on Linux platform. Okay, it means we are going to virtualize our Palo Alto firewall on a Linux platform. Okay, KVM is a Linux platform and it is the example of private cloud. KVM is not the server. You will install KVM in the server. Okay, like if you have purchased a bare metal server, maybe HP, Dell, any vendor, after that you can deploy KVM over that. Like you can also understand it like VMware ESXi. Okay, these are the example of private cloud. Private cloud means you are going to purchase a a server on premises. Okay, and you are going to install these virtual machines in your KVM environment or in VMware ESXi server. Okay, this is private cloud, and you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall in public cloud also. Public cloud can be AWS cloud, Azure cloud. Okay, you can deploy the Palo Alto firewall on AWS, Azure, GCP. Okay, kernel, kernel, kernel virtual machine, KVM. Now the default management IP address on Palo Alto firewall, we have default management IP address 192.168.1.1/24, right? Default username, admin, and password, admin. Okay, so using this information, you can take the access of your firewall. Okay, now if you don't want to modify this subnet, then you can use it. Otherwise, in your network, if you are using different IP address scheme, then you need to change it. Okay, so you can do it via CLI also, or you can do it via GUI. It's up to you. So here I have started the Palo Alto firewall already in our lab. This one, okay, it is not running. नहीं किया था start मैंने. मुझे लगा था start कर दिया है. It is not running, so let's start it. Here you can see we have different segments connected with the firewall. You need to understand one thing: whenever you are going to connect the firewall at your perimeter, perimeter means at the core layer. Okay, perimeter. What is perimeter? At the core layer, we have three layers of distribution, if you know, right? Three layers of hierarchical approach. First of all, core layer, then distribution layer, then access layer, right? At core layer, we connect our security devices or high-end routers or switches, which will forward the traffic over the internet or to the different network, to the external network. Okay. Distribution layer will provide the access to all the connected devices in your network. Here we use layer 3 switches, right? At distribution layer, you can connect your servers, wireless controllers, and authentication servers, load balancers, right? And they will be connected with the help of layer 3 switches or nexus switches. In big networks, in data center networks, we also use nexus switches, right? And access layer will connect all the internal endpoints or internal users with your network. Internal endpoint can be any device like a desktop, laptop, printer, IP phone, IP camera. Biometric devices are there, IoT devices are there nowadays, right? You will see many sensor based devices are there which can also require network connectivity. So all these endpoints will be connected with the help of access layer. Okay. Now you will deploy your firewall at core layer at perimeter where your network is being started. Let's say you can consider this is your ISP router. Okay. And the firewall is connecting with this ISP router, however, and behind the firewall, you are running your internal network. So these are different segments where firewall is performing this segmentation, right? If you are not connecting a firewall, if you are connecting a normal router, then there will be no segment, there will be no security. So here you are connecting a firewall. So firewall is creating segmentation in the network. Here we are able to identify which is my least secure network, which is my most secure network, and which is my partially secure network. Okay. The least secure network is mostly referred as outside or external network or the internet. Okay. And most secure network is referred as inside or internal network or internal zone, right? And this where we are connecting the servers, this zone is called DMZ, demilitarized zone. And why it is called DMZ? Because in this zone we are connecting our servers which can be accessed by internal users or by the public users also, external users also. So this particular zone is, you can say, partially secure. It is not most secure because here public users are able to send the traffic, right? But in this internal network, there is no public user who will be able to send the traffic. That's why it is called more secure. It is considered more secure. And in the architecture, I will tell you about the out of band management also. Okay. Here in the next generation firewalls, you will find a dedicated management interface. Okay. You will find a dedicated management interface. But in Palo Alto Firewall, we have a dedicated processor for management purpose, which is called control processor. I will tell you about the architecture in which we have two processors when we will discuss about parallel processing hardware. We have two things: single pass software and parallel processing hardware. In parallel processing hardware, I will tell you the actual hardware architecture of the Palo Alto firewall. Like here, it is, you can say, separating the control plane and the data plane. Okay. For control plane, we have a dedicated processor, dedicated chip is there. So you can say to provide out of band management, here we have a dedicated management interface. And now what is the use of this parallel processing hardware? The use of this parallel processing hardware is this, that the heavy utilization of one plane will not affect the other plane in the network, right? Let's say your firewall is running some kind of very high CPU intensive security policy where it is performing content inspection, right? Now it is utilizing that particular data plane processing, right? So it will not affect your management plane processing. At that time, you will be able to take GUI access. Other than this, moreover, you can understand it like this: if your device is under attack, maybe your Palo Alto firewall is under attack. Okay, its data interfaces are not able to receive and send the traffic, it is choked properly. Then at that time, if you want to access the firewall, you have to use this management interface, because this management interface will not have any effect for that, right? The, you can say, utilization is happening in the data plane section. So management plane will not be affected. Okay. That's why this control plane and data plane is separated on the Palo Alto firewall. And for the operations, we have different processor. For management plane operation, we have different processor, and for data plane operation like signature matching, security processing, and the data filtering, we have different processor. Okay. So we will discuss about it in architecture. For now, in every next generation firewall, nowadays you will find a dedicated management interface so that we can provide out of band management. We can separate our management traffic than data traffic. Okay. Out of band means here the management plane will not be sent through your data interfaces. Okay. The management plane data or management plane traffic will not be sent through your data interfaces. On the firewalls, we have a management interface and we have data interfaces. Data interfaces are gigabit Ethernet interfaces, which are connected with some routers, switches, endpoints, right? And these interfaces are participating in receiving the traffic and forwarding the traffic through the device. Okay. But the management interface is not participating in data plane forwarding. Management interface is dedicated for management purpose. Okay. Here nothing like if I talk about a user who is sending the traffic through the firewall, then it will not send the traffic through the firewall via management interface, right? It will send the traffic through the firewall via data interface. It can be Ethernet interface, fast Ethernet, or gigabit Ethernet, right? And this management interface is a dedicated out of band management interface which will be used only for management purpose, nothing more than that. Okay. None of the users will be able to send the traffic through that interface. Only management purpose. Maybe you are taking remote access CLI, or you are taking GUI access, or you are integrating your Palo Alto firewall with Panorama, then all these tasks will be performed through management interface. If you are going to integrate your Palo Alto with AD server, then also it will be done via management interface, because it is all management plane traffic, right? All the data plane traffic will be sent through Ethernet or gigabit Ethernet interfaces through the firewall. Okay. Now in this lab, here a Cisco switch is connected. Some Cisco routers are connected. These servers are also routers. Okay. I have changed the icon. These servers are also routers. So we will be able to enable web service. We will be able to enable DNS. We will be able to enable telnet SSH terminal services on the servers, right? So we will consider them the internal servers connected in your network. Okay. So we will host them for public users. We will perform different types of practicals for these servers also. Okay. For now, I think the device is started. See, when you are going to, okay, in this server, we don't have image for this. Let me check. That's why it was not started, because I started the device in the beginning. We have this firewall, then why it is showing no bootable device? Let's do one thing, wipe this first of all. Otherwise I will check the image. Maybe some different image is installed here. If you want to set up this lab on your laptop, on your server, then I can help you in that. You just need a high-end machine. Okay. At least 16 GB RAM. Okay. If you have more than, sorry, 8 GB नहीं चलेगा, बहुत स्लो हो जाएगा, हैंग हो जाएगा बिल्कुल। 16 GB पे भी बहुत स्लो चलेगा, आप ये मान के चलो। 16 GB तो मैंने आपको बता दिया ताकि आप एक फायरवॉल, 2-3 राउटर, एक पीसी लगा के लैब बना सको बस। Otherwise, if you have 32 GB RAM, then this lab will work very fine. In my server, I have 128 GB RAM each. Okay, so you will not be able to face, you will not face any problem to access the lab or something. Okay. I just need to check its image. However, the wrong image is installed, I think. If it is not starting, then I will check the image only. It is showing no more network device. If it is showing no bootable device, then I can check. I think the image is not there in this Palo Alto. Let me check. I can upload it, but it takes time. The image size is very big. See, here, let me tell you one thing. I will install it later. For now, if you want to download this Palo Alto VM series firewall, then you need to go to Palo Alto website. See, the features that we have discussed, just They are all licensed features. Okay. Let's say if you want to perform URL filtering, wildfire analysis, data filtering, or app ID, content aware filtering, all the advanced features, they are all licensed. Okay. So if you want to purchase the device, you can purchase it from Palo Alto. Otherwise, you can download a trial license. You can download a VM series firewall just for evaluation from Palo Alto next generation firewall website. Let me show you Palo Alto VM series firewall. This is for 30 days trial VM series firewall. Okay. And you can download it from here. Right click on this link, open it in new tab. It will ask you to register if we are on the same link. Yes, get the full study. Right. You can download this after giving this information. Okay. Let's say if I want to download the new image, first name within, you need to enter a, you can say, your company's mail id, not public mail server's mail id. Okay. Gmail or Yahoo mail, they will not be accepted. You need to put here your company email id. Okay. Job level, you can select anything here. Individual contributor, job function, security engineer, architect. You need to provide your contact information. 59, country, region, India. See, if you select this, Palo Alto will call you and it will they will ask why do you need this VM. Okay. So if you tell them that you want to perform evaluation for your study purpose, then your request will be rejected. Okay. So don't do this. You can use this one, and I am a robot. What it is asking? Car. It is done. Download now. It will not be downloaded immediately. Now they will accept your request. Then they will verify the request. After that, they will provide you the image through the mail. Okay. Through the mail, you will get it. We are sending a link for your required content, but it will not be sent very easily. When I put this request 3 times, then I get a reply. Okay. And they will take 3 days to process a request. देते नहीं यार, एक बार में 3 बार रिक्वेस्ट करो तब भेजते हैं. Okay. Clear. So you can download that VM series firewall from Palo Alto Networks firewall itself. Okay. And after that, you can virtualize it in this type of platform. Let me check the image in some other server. 10.89. In the next class or before the next class, your Telegram group will be created or WhatsApp group will be created. Okay. In that group, I will post all the documents and notes, study material, study guides, everything. Okay. All the notes which I have shown you, and study guides also, so that you can refer them. This is 10.1. We will perform we will perform the practicals on 10.1.0 PAN-OS. Okay. PAN-OS 10.1.0. It is not the latest one, but it is not that much older also. In real-time network also 10.3 something is being used. Okay. So you can perform the practicals very easily here. So in this lab, when you want to clear all the configuration of your device, then you just need to right click and wipe it. Okay. Clear. Wipe will clear all the configuration from here. This is EVNG and PNet lab. If you have worked on them, then it is very good. Otherwise, you will be able to learn it very easily. Okay. It is not that much tough, but it is better than GNS or packet tracer. Okay. See, it is started here. Now the Palo Alto firewall will boot. Okay. So for the first time, when you will boot this device, it will take at least 5 to 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes for the first time. Because initially all these next generation firewalls are very process intensive. Okay. And they will start their all of their processes and they will take some time. If I talk about Cisco Firepower, when we start Cisco Firepower for the first time, it takes at least 40 minutes for the first time when you will start it. Okay. For the real appliance also, it will take at least half an hour. It is written on that firepower note that you are installing this firepower device for the first time. It can take more than an hour. Okay. So you can consider that 30 to 40 minutes will be there. But for Palo Alto firewall, it will take at least 10 minutes. Okay. For the first boot. Once you have initialized your Palo Alto firewall, you have configured management specific things, right? After that, if you restart the device, it will take only 2-3 minutes to come back. Okay. But for the first time, you need to take care about this, that it will take at least 10 minutes. You need to have patience. Okay. So what I suggest initially, start the video, start the device at the same time. Okay. Complete half of the video, then go to the lab for the first time only. Otherwise, you need to wait, right? After watching full video, if you are going to start the device, then you have to wait. Clear, Mr. Imran? Any doubt? Mr. Karthik? Any one of you? आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है? कोई डाउट हो तो पूछ सकते हो आप लोग.
नो सर, इसमें ये हम लोग को वीडियो कैसे मिलेंगे?
You will get the recording through that Telegram group. Okay. उस Telegram group में हम लोग सारे videos के link post कर देते हैं. Okay. So you will be able to just click on that link and video will be downloaded. Okay. You just need to click on that link. And you can save that video for, you can say, future revision in the future, right? तो आप उनको डाउनलोड कर सकते हो, कोई एक्सेस वाला हेडेक नहीं है. ठीक है.
Okay.
And this lab access will also be available 24/7. As soon as your group will be created, I will send the credentials for everyone. Okay. And for that, you don't need to do anything. You just need to go to your browser. Okay. And I will provide you a public IP address and port number. You need to access that. Which one is running? Okay, I am connecting in internal network, right? So I have to use private IP address. I am connecting in the lab itself. Okay. That's why, otherwise this is the public IP address 61.247.228.97 and port number 2048. Okay. You have to put it in the URL section from the internet when you are accessing it from the internet. Okay. And you will get the login page. For now, I am going to access it using private IP because I am connected in internal network. Here also I am configuring port forwarding, static PAT. Okay. To host this internal application server. You will log in and then you will see this type, not this type of, wait. After logging in, you will see this type of page. Here in the left section, all the labs are defined. Okay. For you, you will be able to see this Palo Alto lab, PA lab and PA lab HA, high availability. If you want to create your own lab, you will be able to create that. Okay. This is for HA, high availability. And the rest of the practicals can be done on this PA lab, which I was showing you. Okay. Clear? Any doubt? So in the next class, we will discuss about SP3 architecture, or you can say the Palo Alto firewall processes and architecture. And then I will tell you about the licensing for all these different features. Then we will discuss about device portfolio. Whatever physical appliances are available, what is their throughput, what are their maximum VPN connections, what are the connections per second maximum, what are the concurrent sessions maximum. So we will take care all these things. So overall, we will understand in which type of network, which device you need to connect, right? Because it is also most important. You need to differentiate between the different device hardware model numbers and what are their specifications, right? So we will understand that thing also, and you will be able to get that easily. For PCNSA, the duration is at least 10 classes. Okay, for PCNSA, the duration is at least 10 classes and 2 hours per class. And for PCNSE, the duration will be 10 classes more. Overall 20 classes, 20 to 22 classes, the course will be finished. PCNSA and PCNSE both. Okay, clear? And we will be able to cover all the topics which are the part of Palo Alto blueprint. Okay. This lab access will be available 24/7 once I will provide you. After that, it will be available 24/7. You can access it at any time. Okay. Yes, yes. For the Palo Alto. Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, for sure. Yes. See, when you complete the course, after that, you just need to give 1 month extra because you need to do some self-study also, right? So you need to give at least 1 month or maximum 1.5 month, not more than that. After that, you will be able to attempt for the exam very easily. Okay. Because these certificate requires time. At least you need to give 1 month for the study only, and after that, 1 month for the self-study. Then you can attempt the exam very easily. Okay. Within 2.5 months, you can do the certification easily. Clear. Then the exam cost is $160. You know that, right? For PCNSA, the exam cost is $160. Same for PCNSE also. Clear, Mr. Imran, Mr. Karthik, any doubt? The image is not uploaded in this server, which I was using. Okay, so I will
The
upload
image
the
is not
image
uploaded in this
and
server,
then we will
which
perform
I
the
was
practical
using.
from the scratch.
Okay, so
Okay,
I will upload
I
the
will show
image
you from the
and
beginning.
then
We will do the
perform the
initialization
practical
first
from
of
the
all,
scratch.
and
Okay,
after that we will
I
do
will show
further
you from the
configuration.
beginning.
We
Okay,
will do the initialization first of
clear.
all, and after that we
So
will
let's
do
continue
further
in the next
configuration.
class.
Okay,
Okay,
guys, see you.
clear.
Okay,
So
Mr.
let's
Imran
continue
and
in the
Karthik.
next class.
Okay,
See you in the
guys,
next class.
see you.
Okay, so
Okay, Mr.
okay, bye
Imran and
bye.
Karthik, see you in the next